We cross live now to Abuja, where the Coalition of United Political Parties is holding a press conference on the developments from Imo State that threatens the general elections. Let's take a listen.
Gentlemen of the press, I want to welcome you to this live CUPP Opposition Political Parties press conference on my capacity as the Director in charge of the Contact and Mobilization Committee of the CUPP. I want to quickly thank and appreciate the leadership of the CUPP, ably represented in persons, the steering committee, members of the CUPP, the media committee. I must have to recognize the person of High Chief Peter Ame, the Secretary of the Steering Committee of Coalition of United Political Party, and other members of the Steering Committee, the person of Chief Gosin Okoye, National Chairman, UDP. I want to also recognize the person of Chief AK, Sam, PhD, the National Chairman of GPN. I want to also recognize Barrister Obika, who is a member of the Media Committee, and the National Chairman of UP. I also want to recognize Barrister Mecca Benjamin, the National Chairman of DPC. I want to recognize also the presence of Prince Frank Ukonga, National Chairman of Democratic Alternative. And I want to recognize Alhaji Takai, the National Chairman of ACD, and one of the members of the National Working Committee of Action Alliance in the person of Dr. Manga and Professor Naji, and numerous lots of our people that I cannot start mentioning by name, and also the person of Alhaji Abacha. Mr. Louis Abba is here, National Chairman CUPP. Nigerians, you know that Coalition of United Political Parties is a conglomerate of different political parties that came in existence in 2018, and we have been together since then. And today, I want to call on the national co-spokesperson of the Coalition of United Political Party, the person of Comrade Mark Adebayo, to present the purpose why we are here today, so Nigerians can also be aware of what is going on. Remember, in the last conference we did at the Opposition House, we informed Nigerians that in coming weeks, some more revelations will be made, all in deepening democracy, in Nigeria. So, Comrade Mark Adebayo, please, you can talk to Nigerians. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, fellow Nigerians, thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen of the press, for being our partners in progress and in development of our nation, and for answering us whenever we call to our fellow Nigerians, for always granting us audience. We appreciate you all. Nothing aptly captures the reality of the Imo State currently better than the scripture passage that says, "The thief cometh not, but for to steal, to kill, and destroy." John 10:10. When a thief or a demagogue comes to power, the town or city or state suffers stealing, murder, destruction, and pillage. Imo State currently typifies that reality more than any other state in today's Nigeria. For those who have a sense of history, it was the mismanaged crisis of one region of Nigeria that killed the First Republic. It was the mishandled crisis in one state, the Omobori saga in Odo State, in 1983, and the injustices of the 1983 elections that escalated out of control and led to the death of the Second Republic. The fundamental lesson here is that crisis in one corner of Nigeria, not masterfully and timely resolved, with clear elements of justice noticeably present, can truncate our entire democracy. Gentlemen, we shall at this point call on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who promised Nigerians free and fair elections, and we in the opposition believed him to be notified to tune in to this press conference this morning. We also call on the National Security Advisor, who in a meeting with the political parties promised to rein in all armed militias operating in the various states, particularly those that are state-backed, to also be notified to listen to this press conference. We call that the indefatigable Inspector General of Police also to be alerted that we have something of interest for him and he should tune in. The Director General of the State Security Services should tune in, and indeed all heads of security agencies. We call on all election observers, both domestic and foreign, to tune in, and indeed the international community and all the foreign missions in our country. We call on Igbo people who have been living in fear of where the next bloodshed will flow from into the rivers of blood in Imo to also tune in. Lastly, we call on all the Ato people to listen. Please pray you all tune in. In less than an hour, we will be done. Gentlemen, sometime last year, after our first national spokesperson, Ikenga Imo Igoshinye, released information to the world about the grand compromise of the Nigerian voter register and in what is now popularly called the Omuma Magic, all hell was let loose and his life has been threatened since then. Despite the numerous shouts and the attacks that have so far been carried out, targeting his life, sadly, his attackers and the election riggers who are behind it are still walking freely in the streets of Nigeria and Imo State. On the 23rd of December 2022, the Kenga's convoy was attacked in Diato, his hometown. In that attack, one Shinasa Nwaneri, who doubles as the special advisor to the governor of Imo State, was identified as the one who led the attackers and coordinated the operation. Ikenga survived that attack on his life only by the very special grace of God upon him. Petitions were written, Ikenga shouted, sadly nothing has been done till date. On the 14th of January 2023, in an attack very much like a terrorist operation, Ikenga's country home came under heavy attack. By the time the attackers left, his uncle and 3 others were left dead, murdered in cold blood for no reason. Houses were burnt, about 32 cars were burnt, and the attackers really used improvised explosive devices to bring down houses. Property worth almost ₦1 billion belonging to Ikenga. The common villagers, his guests and associates were lost in that attack. Again, to date, the blood of innocent people killed in that attack are daily crying for justice. Again, on the 17th February 2023, Ikenga sent out another SOS messages that his house, or what was left of his house, had again come under attack. He cried out for help and did not get help. Many would have thought that that was one attack too many, but indeed, that was what it was. It seemed that there is a very desperate attempt by those after Ikenga to finish the job they have been instructed and contracted to do. However, before this third attempt on Ikenga's life, he had taken certain personal security measures. Security barriers were erected on the avenue to his family home. CCTV cameras were mounted, among other measures. Now, everybody listen attentively to this shocking revelation so you will understand the full story of the issues of unknown gunmen in Imo State. When the government struck, they first took out all the CCTV cameras they could see in the compound. They were armed to the teeth with guns, machetes, and charms. They believably had information that Ikenga was around when they struck. When they could not find him, they terrorized the occupants in his house, robbed them, destroyed property, and planted incriminating items in the house. We will show you the evidence shortly. Gentlemen, the part of this third attack that shocked us and made our hearts bleed is that some of the attackers have been identified. You will see their faces today. And sadly, serving police officers in the Imo State Police Command, at least one officer from the police Force Intelligence and Investigation Bureau, FIB, members of the notorious and bloodthirsty Ebubiagu network of the Imo State government, and other unidentified gunmen. We have made effort to let Nigerians see for themselves the video evidence of what we speak about. We now try to play the video so that Nigerians will see for themselves. So you can watch that, please. I want the camera to be beamed on that side. So you can see that as they are moving in, you can see that one of them has been identified in that arrow that you saw. And some of the noticeable, look at them, people have run and they are taking their properties. They are stealing what is left of whatever those who have run for their lives have left behind. Imagine. If you look at, I started by saying that the thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And you see what they are doing. After 2 attempts on his life, these guys are not letting off. They are not cooling down. They are looking for every means because it's hard.
That's the police from
That policeman is from that. You can see him. He's from that community. He's from that division. So from the Imo government state house, that policeman you are seeing there. No, they are still moving around looking for what to steal. They are still moving around looking for who to kill. They are still moving around to plant incriminating evidence or items against Ikenga so that they can nail him later for terrorism charges. Look at them. Look at them. In a state where we have government, in a state where we have law and order, in a state where we have security, you can see his face. You can see his face. Because it's a police officer. You can see his face, a police officer. They believe they have destroyed all the CCTV cameras, but they were just stupid by half. Because Ikenga is always outsmarting them. You can see them. You can see them. Daylight. They heard he was in the house and they came again. And they came again. But the people of Idiato love Ikenga so much. Look at police. You can see. You can see police team squad. You can see. AKS. Look at that. Look at that. Look at them. So this thing is very, very clear. You can see this is not video game. This is real life. These are murderous elements who are looking for Ikenga to kill him. He's stealing phone. Look at, he has stolen phone. Is this what a Nigerian police or man or officer should be doing? He's stealing phone. People are charging phone. He's stealing them. They're still looking for Ikenga. They're still looking for him to kill him. At this moment, we need to appreciate the cooperation and solidarity of the Idiato people who quickly alerted Ikenga and his envoy that these guys are coming back and they should find a way to escape and secure themselves. The solidarity, the love for Ikenga in Idiato is unprecedented, even despite all the carnage and the hardship that the state terrorists have made them go through. But for their alertness and their cooperation and solidarity, we'll be here today telling a different story. But we thank God. Look at them. They are looking for what to steal. These are supposed to be police officers. This is not the way they train our police officers. This is not the true image of Nigeria police officers. These are rogue officers. This is not the image of our police. Look at him. Look at him. We are in that MPF. That's supposed to be a noble apportionment of uniform. Look at the logo. Can you see it? Can you see it? These are not unknown gunmen. These are policemen in the state house of Imo. But they have gone rogue. This does not represent Nigeria police. The international community must recognize that this does not represent the image of our police. But these are officers who have gone rogue, doing the bidding of one politician who is in government. Yeah, they are policemen from government house. Yeah. So we have to make that clear. But still, they are policemen. but they do not represent the image of the Nigerian police. And that is why the IGP must take action against these policemen, must take action against whoever is their commanding officer. I must take action on the Commissioner of Police of Imo State for allowing this to happen. Because there's no way this can happen without clearance or the knowledge or the awareness of the highest authorities of the Imo State Police Command. So we will still come back with more videos, but let's just continue with this. We have made effort to let Nigerians see for themselves the video evidence of what we speak about. This is not fake news. This is not video game. We will now try to play the video so that, okay, we have played it. Having taken out all the CCTV, they could see. They did not know there were other high-tech devices that could not be seen, but could see them clearly. Now the world can see the clear evidence whether the attackers are the people who governor, who police or them claim were separatists Ikenga held meeting with to stop election in South Seats, or whether they are the state-backed militia Ikenga alleged were behind the attacks. Please, camera, zoom in on the television set here. Now let us play the video, second video, right? Okay, same thing. So let's just continue. In the video, you could see the time they approached the gate. You could also see them armed with machetes. You could see also the one in red t-shirt and black jacket, who has now been identified as a police officer stealing from the house. You could also see the one who deliberately destroyed the overhead water tank in the compound and burst it open. There are much more, but those will be for the security agencies to do their work in apprehending these people. Gentlemen and ladies, we do not believe that these officers of the law you have seen in this video are supposed to be officers of the Nigeria Police Force that the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba Alkali, has been working hard to reform. We do not believe that the Police Service Commission will be proud that even one policeman will be found to have gone rogue to the extent of carrying out attack just as you have seen. Upon getting hold of this video and on the identification of the persons involved, we set out to find out what really happened and conducted some basic checks. Some of the men you saw in that video have also been identified as part of the squad that carried out the previous attacks and attempted murders on Ikenga. When Ikenga was shouting that his attackers were state-sponsored, the Imo State government in the flimsy defense called him a rabble-rouser, an inconsequential politician who cannot attract the attention of the state government. Yet, daily, Ikenga is a topic in the governor's office. The information we have been able to obtain sadly shows that the Commissioner of Police, Imo State Command, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Barde, knows more about the attacks on Ikenga than he is telling the world. During the attack on the 14th January 2023, people who received the SOS sent out by Ikenga reached out to the Commissioner of Police and he assured them he had already dispatched a team to the place. Sadly, the team dispatched must have missed their way because more than a month after, they are yet to arrive at his house. Clear evidence of that will be supplied to the hierarchy of the police when the inquiries begin. We have cause to believe that officer from FIB Abuja was flown in via a private jet to come and lead this heat. They said is precise and does not fail in his mission, but he has failed in this one because the hands of God are with Ikenga. The instructions were clear. If they meet any resistance in his house, take him out immediately. If they capture him alive, create a scene on the way that they came under attack and he died while trying to escape. Either way, Governor's Office Imo State was awaiting the news of Ikenga's death to be announced on the 7th of February 2023. Like the governor exposed himself after the January 14 attack, he was clearly so shocked that Ikenga survived the attack that he could not get himself to change the already prepared storyline for the attack. This recording will indeed help Nigerian security agencies in solving the mystery of the unknown government in Imo State and impose Governor Obusodima for who truly he is and the kind of so-called security report he claims to be at his disposal. I want to, at this junction, remind Nigerians that a former governor of Imo State, Okorocha, once said that the people who are called unknown government in Imo State are actually being sponsored by the current state governor. So the question now, therefore, is how many people who have been gruesomely murdered in Imo State have been so killed because Governor Hope Uzodinma gave approval? How many citizens have nearly lost their lives because they refused to align politically with Governor Hope Uzodinma? How many? How many? How many? And how many more are to go down? Shina Samanderi has boasted to many who have reached out to him concerning Ikenga's allegation that he will keep his promise up to Ikenga and that the police cannot do anything to him. Shinasa has claimed that the Commissioner of Police in Imo State reports to him and that it is in the report that the governor wants that go to Abuja. Shinasa now contests the authority of the Inspector General of Police if he says he is the one the Commissioner of Police in Imo State will report to and that final instructions will come from him. We insist, it is our conclusion that all attacks on Ikenga have been politically motivated. We insist that the attacks are because of his revelation of the Omuma magic, and we insist that the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, has questions to answer, criminal questions. Beyond the attacks on Ikenga's person, his supporters, allies, associates, and materials have also been targeted. They now move from house to house in the Diato and other parts of Imo, harassing any person identified to be an Ikenga supporter and arresting some of them. They say whether the Inspector General of Police likes it or not, they will do what they want on election day. In fact, we have information and we verily believe in that Governor Hope Uzodinma has said that he will carry his chair on the 25th of February and sit in the Diato to see how Ikenga will survive. That after all his own election is in November. The fact that governors have immunity does not guarantee them to be behaving with impunity. I think we have to make that very clear. Yeah. It is on this note that we invite election observers, both domestic and foreign, to note the Diato Federal Constituency election as a flashpoint that must be covered as there has been promise of bloodshed by the governor of Imo State on the people of that constituency. Particularly, we invite the European Union, United States Embassy, the British High Commission, Canadian Embassy, all other accredited observer groups to ensure that they deploy to Idiato and Idiato North and South local government areas on the 25th of February 2023. We also invite the National Security Advisor, Inspector General of Police, the Director General of the State Security Services, and indeed all heads of security agencies and the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security to note Idiato as a flash point. Being proactive to provide adequate security in that federal constituency is better than any reactionary actions after the mayhem promised by Governor Uzodinma has been carried out. Now, let us bring to your notice certain particular incidents. On Saturday, the 11th of February 2023, 2 people were arrested conveying election materials, I repeat, election materials donated to Ikenga Igoshinyeri campaign and the PDP in Imo State. The materials include posters and other education and sensitization materials. The materials were received at the Port Harcourt International Airport, were being conveyed to Imo State. These are educational materials. Everybody does this. This is not INM property. These are educational materials. These are election education materials. So this is not something that somebody should go and confiscate. So now they are claiming that Ikenga has custody in his custody INEC materials. How is this an INEC material? Because they are looking for every means to frame him up. So they've confiscated all those things. Now, the materials include posters, as I've shown you, and other voter education and sensitization materials. The materials were received at the Port Harcourt International Airport and were being conveyed to the Imo State in an airport taxi when one Miss Jennifer Williams, who was conveying it, and the airport taxi driver were arrested by security officials. Since the 11th February 2023 to date, both Jennifer Williams and the airport taxi driver are still in the custody of the Imo State Police Command, daily being tortured and compelled to implicate Ikenga for carrying election education materials. We have been informed that they have not yet been charged to court 6 days after because they have refused to implicate Ikenga. Since their arrest, they have been incommunicado without access to lawyer or family. Strangely, one barrister Maxwell Aleto, who went on that Saturday on behalf of the arrested persons, was also arrested, only thrown out on Tuesday 14th February 2023. We are already creating a basis for anarchy in this country when lawyers can no longer perform their constitutional assignment of going to take care of their client interests. We are creating unnecessary anarchy in this country, and it doesn't augur well for any state, any nation, or any society. He spent 3 days in illegal detention, a lawyer, for merely performing professional duty on behalf of his clients. We invite the Nigeria Bar Association, NBA, both in Imo and Abuja headquarters to investigate this and take the necessary actions. Even lawyers are now victims. Lawyers must not and cannot be intimidated from performing their professional duties to their clients. As a matter of fact, to the country. Lawyers are fundamental parts of state building. Here are some of the samples of the documents the arrested lady. We have shown you some. So I still have some here. So these are campaign materials. These are not INEC materials. These are educational materials for elections. Every candidate, every political party does this. So this one cannot be an incriminating evidence against Ikenga. So, but our courts are not stupid. If they say Ikenga has INEC materials at his disposal, let them take these ones to court and let's see how they will be disgraced. Dear Inspector General of Police, we remind you once again of your promise to the opposition to ensure level playing ground for everyone. But in Imo, the Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Ahmed Baride, can now be said to be heading the armed wing of the ruling party in the state. So once again, see the materials he seized, and it's labeled election rigging materials, printed by Ikenga. This is how to vote Ikenga PDP material, clearly having Ikenga's face on it. Also the inscription of how to vote for PDP. This material cannot look like INEC ballot papers. INEC cannot print ballot papers bearing only one candidate's face. How can the Commissioner of Police in Imo State be celebrating this issue as intercepting election rigging materials? Even a constable in Nigeria Police cannot do that. Has any person outside those who should have seen, including the Commissioner of Police, seen the ballot paper for the election for him now say that this is ballot paper printed for rigging election? Now, this is clearly the voter education material and not an election rigging material. Or what exactly is the Commissioner of Police looking for? Why the attempt to bring the police into the realm of politics in Imo State? And why should the police allow themselves to be brought into the realms of politics in Imo State or anywhere for that matter? Go ahead. Again, everybody in Nigeria knows that Ikenga is a human rights activist and fights for the protection of human rights. He has consistently advocated for the freedom of persons incarcerated. He campaigned for the release of Commodore Umar Mohammed, Dejade Yonju, Omoyele Sowore, Sunday Igboho, Sheikh El Saksaki, and now in Nnamdi Kanu. This same message is being sponsored in national newspapers. The campaign to release all these people was sponsored in some newspaper by Ikenga to release these people from detention. Ikenga has made it very clear that he wants President Muhammadu Buhari as part of the process of peace building to release Nnamdi Kanu in line with the judgments of the Federal High Court, Umahia, and the Court of Appeal, Abuja, in order to separate the criminals killing people in the southeast and the ones who have genuine agitations for nationhood. Ikenga does not like the fact that the insecurity in the southeast has led to the killing of several policemen and other security personnel. He wants a resolution to these issues, and he's telling his constituents who are daily suffering the agony of this insecurity and the damaging effects of weakless sit at home to their businesses and lives that if elected, he will push even from the parliament for freedom for Nnamdi Kanu and for political solution to be adopted in the resolution of this insecurity that has ravaged the Southeast. If you want to kill an Igbo man, just take away his business. So it's not, what is happening in that place is not natural. It cannot be in the Southeast that businesses will have to close down for 24 hours. It is not in their nature. It is not in their blood. He stands by his views. He has made it public. Is that view a crime that the Commissioner of Police does not understand, or is he being misguided by his political involvement? First, the Attorney General of Imo State had alleged and filed frivolous and vexatious charges that Ikenga was responsible for the burning of INEC offices in Imo State. Then was the allegation of terrorism, then that he hacked into INEC server, laughable, and took materials with which he exposed Obu magic, then murder, then arson, then rape of a convicted guy in prison was released to allege Ikenga raped him. Haba, when will this joke stop? Is it not time to stop and take stock? Anybody who knows Ikenga knows that they do, man. The Commissioner of Police, Imo State, did not investigate the allegations of the Omu magic after the revelations. Rather, to distract the people, he filed charges against innocent staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission. That matter has since been withdrawn because of lack of evidence and because they believe the matter has been overtaken by events. We invite the Police Inspector General and the Police Service Commission to save the institution of the police this embarrassment and call the Commissioner of Police to order. He was deployed to Imo State to protect lives and property and not to play politics or choose who should be alive or dead. The police are supposed to protect with integrity. It is time to stop the madness going on in Imo State. It is time to stop the Imo State from being the killing field which has been converted into by Governor Hope Uzodinma and his cohorts. It is clear that the Commissioner of Police Imo State has other agenda in the state. It is manifest that he cannot guarantee free and fair election in Imo State in keeping with the pledge of the Inspector General of Police and the promise by President Muhammadu Buhari to have free, fair, peaceful and credible election. We are holding the president on that promise and we believe him. But some people want to truncate that. He now takes instruction from the Inspector General of Chinasa, Nwaneri. That is very unfortunate. The IGP cannot be working hard in Abuja and the Commissioner of Police will be undoing it all in Imo State. It is on this basis and more that the opposition is calling on the Inspector General of Police to redeploy the Commissioner of Police, Imo State, and further investigate him on his culpability on some other incidents that have happened in Imo State. He is aware of the visit of the government now 3 times to Idiato, rogue officers stealing and destroying private property in the mass house. That is beyond the red line. The owners of those stolen items want them back. Mr. Commissioner, they want them back. We shall await the actions of the police hierarchy on these revelations and evidence. Let it be known that the Ikenga will not back down on his rights, neither will he run away from his chosen path, and he will not run away from a place where he was born. As Ikenga is returning to Imo State tomorrow, Friday, it behooves on the heads of security agencies in Nigeria to provide him adequate protection and also to call them into Imo State to cease any illegal actions they are planning against Ikenga, because he will not back down. He's going to run in this election. He's going to campaign and he's going to win.
Amen.
He's going to win.
Inshallah.
He has won, actually.
Inshallah.
There must not be any election rigging in Ida at all and all over Imo State, because Ikenga will expose them all. He has a way of getting his information and they are all valid. It is his right and nobody can trample on his right. Disciplinary action must first commence on the identified rogue police officers and then the Commissioner of Police in Imo State. Also, all those yet to be identified must be identified. There were many of them who came. Several of them surrounded the house and also robbed villagers and passers-by and terrorized them. The society must insist such identified rogue officers who are involved in killings should be shown the way out of the force and put in jail, where they rightly belong, far away from decent citizens. We also call on the Inspector General of Police, a gentleman and officer to the corps, to immediately direct the release of Miss Jennifer Williams and the airport taxi, innocent airport taxi driver who earns probably less than 5,000 naira a day, who have been in the dungeon of the Commissioner of Police in Imo State for the past 6 days. We also call on the release of the campaign materials and further education materials and sensitization materials donated to Ikenga campaign immediately. We hear the materials have been moved to the government house, Owerri, but the commissioner should go and retrieve them before they are destroyed. Nothing should be added, nothing should be removed, Nothing should be printed and inserted. If they do, we will prove our case. If, as the Imo State government has said that Ikenga is not popular, why all the attack on him? If the man is not popular, allow him to go and fail freely. The young man has said, meet him in the field and also campaign to the people. But no, Ikenga will not be allowed to campaign. Ikenga will be killed. All that is being discussed in Imo State government house. You say it's inconsequential, yet you cannot sleep with two eyes closed. Let us now notify you. Your nightmares will be long and Ikenga will win this election. Nigerians, keep watching this video to see how the governor opens back unknown militias government operating in Imo State. Mixture of known River State cultists, members of the Ebubiagu network, men from the Imo State Command of the Police, and at least one from FIB Abuja. That is the crack squad that Governor Obisodima put together with the knowledge of the Commissioner of Police Imo State to execute Ikenga. We must notify the world now that the opposition has approached the court to seek orders of court to restrain Imo State government from fabricating charges against him. This step was taken upon receiving information that the Imo State government has procured a magistrate who is willing to grant remand orders against Ikenga so that it can be put away until after the election, and also harmed in detention and claimed that he was involved in a failed escape bid or he was attacked by fellow detainees. Ikenga was once arrested and poisoned. We must not forget that. In this country, he was once arrested and poisoned, and it took God's intervention for him to be healed. Nigeria is a constitutional democracy. Hope Uzodinma is under oath to protect the Imo citizens, including those in opposition, and has no right to target any of them to be killed merely for holding contrary political views. The Commissioner of Police Imo State cannot and does not have the right, acting as an agent to the governor of Imo State or Chinasa Waneri, coordinate an attack on the law-abiding citizen targeted at executing such a citizen. The full text of the promise of the Inspector General of Police for safe environment to conduct elections and the pledge of the National Security Advisor to dislodge all militias operating in the state is what they both do to the madness going on in Imo State. This Ikenga case is a test case, and we withdraw all other inferences from this case. If we were not able to obtain these footages, nobody would have believed our story. But now, the video evidence is available. We have been right all along. The Attorney General of Imo State, we hear you are again fabricating these charges. You have refused to perform your official and professional duty to the state government. It is professional misconduct not to advise them appropriately. We know that the legal practitioners and disciplinary committee will be interested in yet another trial of the allegations of misconduct against you. That is, if you are not finally debarred from the current trial. Every one of you should get it clear. Ikenga is a soldier of democracy and rule of law for over 2 decades. He cannot stop now, and you cannot stop him. It is not solely about elections into the House of Representatives, but this is a path he has been assigned by his creator to fight for the common man. You cannot stop him. We believe that all the evidence needed by the security agencies to unravel the mystery of Imo unknown government, the specific attacks on the home of Ikenga, particularly the terrorist attack of January 14, was carried out. Ikenga had also made public how the vehicle which conveyed explosives, you can see that one there. The car which conveyed explosives used to attack his house in January moved from Uweri. He has then raised concerns about how that vehicle conveyed men and bombs from Uweri to Idiato without being stopped by the multiple checkpoints on that route. It is now becoming obvious that the said vehicle was not stopped. The said was not stopped because the vehicle was either escorted or granted a pass by the state. The vehicle arrived in Idiato, ran into a ditch when they were leaving after the attack, and they bombed it there by themselves and abandoned it there. At this stage, we want consequences. Dear our respected IGP, we want consequences. We have gotten to that bridge, and this is the breaking point. Watch the video, same squad, same mode of operation. Enough is enough. Ikenga is going home for this election. IG, protect him. NSA, protect him. DG, DSS, protect him. Above all, God Almighty, we call on you to protect him. Ikenga must not die. We will hold the Imo State government and the Imo State governor responsible if anything of becoming happens to Ikenga, Imo, Ugoshiri. There are enough prima facie cases established against the Imo State government and governor of their attacks, of their involvement on the attacks and attempted murder of Ikenga, Imo, Ugoshiri. We ask Idiato people to come out en masse and vote Ikenga to show those who thrive by politics of blood, murder, judicial mandate, and those who campaign with blackmail to rubbish other candidates or opposition that that there is a limit to shameful madness. Stop the blackmail and stop the attempted murder. Ikenga is not about going to representatives but assign Board of Liberation. Ikenga is not about just going to the House of Reps, but it's a signboard of liberation and justice for our people. Come out early to vote. After voting, until it is announced, and follow it to the next coalition center and get your youths ready to keep vigil, and once they come, block their exit and ensure you use law on citizens' arrest of criminals to deal with them. Don't use violence, but don't allow them to take away your votes. Ikenga has posed them as the delivered who only find strength behind the barriers. They fear open contest or fear election. At the mention of Ikenga's name, they start panicking and looking for crooked ways to silence him because they don't have the morale, the independence, the experience, the commitment, the popularity, the sagacity to do what Ikenga can do. Defend Ikenga. Gather around him, people of Idiato. Defend your land, Idiato people. Arise, Imo. End the madness of the political forces hovering over Imo State now. We demand that the government officials, particularly governors, should be restricted to their wards or where they register to vote on election day to avoid intimidation of voters. Thank you all. Before I end this, we want to appreciate President Muhammadu Buhari for the extension of the Naira policy. CUPP wishes to appreciate him for what he has done. But we also wish to appreciate the fact that Nigerians are behind our man, Ikenga. Thank you all for the audience, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you so much. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our land. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our right. Temper, Isoleto, Africa. I will now hand over the mic to Barrister Esobika, one of the youngest lawyers and most brilliant in this country, who is going to be the youngest SAF very soon. Amen.
Yeah, thank you. Honorable members of the press. My name is Barrister Chukwudi Ezobika. I'm the chairman, Media Committee of the Coalition of United Political Parties. Yeah, I want to thank you very much for always availing us your time. You know, whenever we call on you, you're always here. Of course, we all know that the media, the press, has a very huge role to play in a democratic society. You are the eyes, you're the ears of the people. Whatever information the masses need should ordinarily come from you. As I've always said, we are at a crossroad in Nigeria. You know, sometimes we find ourselves in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes in the middle of nowhere we find ourselves. Nigeria is in their need of divine intervention. Nigerians need to understand that the period we are in is a period that requires every hand to be on deck. We must salvage the very soul of the Nigerian nation. We have the responsibility, the duty behoves on all of us to ensure that we redeem the very soul of the Nigerian nation. We can all observe what is going on, what is being dished out from the courts, what we get, from our immediate environment. We're not impressed. We're not impressed by what we get, from the judicial arm of government. We need to speak out. Nigerians need to speak out because there's a level we can tolerate certain things. So many things are going on wrongly. Institutions of government have been compromised. Lives are no longer sacred. Lives is of no value in Nigeria any longer. The spokesperson of the coalition of united political parties has been threatened for months, for years, yet the security agencies can't do nothing. This is reprehensible. The Inspector General of Police has to wake up. He needs to come and do what is needed of him, what is expected of him. Okay? So, together I believe we can uplift this nation. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. Everyone, thank you for coming.